Right, welcome back to another video. So, the first thing we do when we get to site is we actually measure the door. So I measured this, so hopefully it's right. If you've seen another one of my videos, you measure top, middle and bottom, take off 10 from your smallest point. Same on the height. Left, right and centre. Take off 10 off your smallest point, which is correct. I also check the actual door itself because it has been manufactured wrong in the past. So check your paperwork and check the actual door. We put the dust sheets down. Yeah, I like to get it fully dust sheeted out. Obviously, the better you dust sheet, the less cleaning up to do there is at the end. One last check. I always check the inside as well. But yeah, if you are a fan of, if you are a subscriber or a fan of this channel, you'll know that I like my tools and I actually get to use them today. So it looks like this door is actually held on with one screw. Just trying to find the right bit. Can use a T30. Oh yeah, T30. So, as suspected, that screw is actually rusted and I cannot get it out. This door is also been fitted back to front. I think it was just off an old shed. It's just been reused. So what I'm doing now to make my life a little bit easier is actually take the door sash off. So we've got these little grub screws that come out. These hold the pin, which holds the sash in place. So once you take these grub screws out, you can knock the pin out, which will then release the sash. You can take it off completely. I'm actually going to start from the bottom because if I take the top ones out, the weight of it will take the door. We don't want that, especially on a Friday. So this door hasn't actually got any sealant around it. This door is very tight. I think it's just been wedged in. Yeah, this door has got it's got one fixing in which is stuck, and it is just tight between the bricks. So what I do in this situation is I break the weld with a sharp chisel. You get your chisel in there, get a nice whack. It was a brand new chisel as well, only bought it 2 days ago. I wasn't intending for it to be used with that. always cut along the plaster line as well. That will free up the door. Also, when you're knocking it outwards, just make sure that it's not moving the brick as well. Now the head's free. Well, now the head's out. Take your bar, start at the top. And prise it off. Also, it's important to go down first, not out. If you were to go out first, you're going to damage that brick. So, down. Just follow it all the way down. That's got little fixings on. It's got tiny little fixings. I wondered how it was staying in, just thought it was tight. So because this has got a screw stuck up here, I'm now going to do the opposite to what I did that side and start from the bottom and prise it. What I may need to do is drill either side of that screw a hole so the screw goes through. That screw there, the head is rounded off. I cannot get it out. So what I'm going to do is screw a hole, make that hole bigger either side of it, pull the screw through the frame, and then angle grind the screw off. So that's the door out. All the excess cement is cleaned off. All the walls are brushed down. We've now got a nice clean canvas to work with. Also as well, because I've just done the rip out, I had all my ripping out tools, what I like to do is put them away. I like to have a nice clean working area so you're not tripping over the tools and stuff like that. I also like to get rid of, obviously, the old door, put that to one side so it's not in my way of installation. So the next stage is prepping the door, ready for installation. First thing we want to do is check for level. According to that, it wants to come up this end ever so slightly. Probably a couple of mil, probably a little white packer. Next thing we do as well, this black membrane here, that is DPC. Now it's very important to get that under your door. Obviously we don't want any damp. We don't want any damp rising, and this gets a lot of damp apparently. I'm going to take that old one out and put some new stuff in. Do is just go over this old one. What I like to do as well is just come up a little bit higher like that, so it comes up the brick, both sides. Right, now that's down. Check for level again. So this sill is 985, so I want 895 cut. So 985 take away 895 equals 90. Divide that by 2, that is 45 each end. I love being left-handed. So when you're working on your own, and obviously there's no plaster line here, so when you put your door on and the weight pushes it as you're trying to fix it, if that was to be cut straight, that would probably start moving backwards. But because of this horn, once my door's on here and I'm fixing it, it's not going to go inwards, which would make it quite difficult on your own. So now that's ready, what I like to do I bed down my packers and then I put a bed of silicone. And it's important that when you put packers down, this silicone has to be above the packer, because obviously this is what seals under the door. Some people like to seal up afterwards, but me, I like to do it first, so when you put the sill down it squashes it down and gives it a nice seal. Now the fun part, to install the door. So the rig goes back on. This is new, by the way. Martinez. I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I've not seen any window fitters that wear one of these. It's mostly joiners, but they come in very handy. But I'm just getting used to this one. This is the very first time I've worn it. My t-shirt keeps riding up. No one wants to see my arse crack. So, prepping the door. The sill is now in. This is a 15mm add-on. What I like to do is on the hinge side of every PVC door I fit, I'll put one of these. I'll put one of these on. And that's because this door is open out. It's so the hinges don't foul on the brick. Just gives you that extra little bit. Even on doors that are opening as well, is to take the hinge away from the plaster so your door can open freely. Because if your hinges were to hit the, let's say this had plaster and your hinges were to hit the plaster, your door wouldn't open fully. So I like to put this on the hinge side. So we seal that on, we screw it on as well. So the door is in, we know that the sill is level. So now what we do, it's important to get the hinge side plumb, because it's going to save you a lot of heartache later on. Use a big 1800 level. That is slightly out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside and I'm going to pack it so that the hinge side is plumb, and that allows me to, when I come to glaze the door, it's going to make my life a lot easier. So I'll put some packers in here to pull the door that way to make it more plumb, and I'll put some packers in there as well to move the door that way, so it's moved it. So now it's plumb on this hinge side. You see what I mean about this 15mm packer? It just takes the hinge away from the wall by 15mm. So when this is open, it gives you that gap there, so that hinge is not touching that. And now we put some fixings in. Quick slurp of the tea. Because this door is opening out, I need to prop it at the bottom. And that is too big. I'm going to have a look for some wood on the van. So what I'm going to do is prop this door open Those snappers will only hold to a certain degree, and what is difficult to do is drill the door and hold the door at the same time. So the bottom of the sill comes all the way back. In normal cases this would be to the plaster line. That is where I want that. So what we do, we've already plumbed it up on the hinge that way. So now what we do is this way, which is lovely. And then it's important that when you're putting fixings in, you come 150 mil away from the weld. So I measure from the top, 150 down. And then 150 up. And the reason why it's 150 is to not put stress on the weld. And then what I do, I bring my bench forward, I put all my drills on it so it's to hand. Get my ear defenders on, because when you're drilling and it's right there, I tend to get ringing ears late at night. So what I like to do is pre-drill my holes. And what we want is a full brick, ideally. And the reason why I pre-drill is because if you go straight in with one of these, you can crack the frame. One of the reasons why I like wearing a belt as well, your screws in your pocket, tape, everything, it's all on you. So you're not scratching around for anything. So that's the top one in. I then go to the bottom, same again. Once them two are in, check if there's any bows in the frame. There is not. And then what I like to do is space out the screws. So once you've done the hinge side, you close your door too. What I do is I get an equal gap at the bottom, like I get it close to the lock, hold it there, and I look all the way up, and you can see the gap looks like it's getting bigger at the top. So that means I have to move the frame in or out to close that gap to make it the same as the bottom. That means the door will lock better. Right, so now the foam's going off, I'm gonna start glazing it. I'm gonna have to do a time lapse or something here because next door is cutting the grass. Anyway, I'm gonna do my best, and if you can't hear me, I'll just do a voiceover. But what we do, take the hinge side, which is this side, and we toe and heel. So, glazing packer there, that's called a bridge packer. They go there, that side, so you always start on your hinge side at the bottom, and then the opposite side at the top. This is called toe and heel. And before I get the glass in, off the van, I like to put them in first. So if you've got a heavy bit of glass, you can just go straight out of the van, walk in and put it in straight away. And again, it's important to have everything that you may need close by. What I like to do is put an assortment of packers in my pocket, get my glazing paddle and my hammer ready. I then lift the glass in, which is quite heavy, this one. So that's in. So here's what we do now. We've got our glazing paddle. And then I put my head against it to hold the glass so it doesn't fall out. I like to put another packer at the bottom, which you can't see at the minute, and another packer at the side. So basically those bridging packers have now got another packer on. And then again, at the top, I like to, well, sometimes I like to do the very top first. And what you do is get your glazing wedge, you paddle, you put that between the glass and the sash, and you lift up, which creates a space between the glass and the bridging packer, which allows you to get your glass in, which pushes the door up, which allows for any drop in. Now your door will more than likely drop over time, and that means it starts to get stuck or stick in. It's just a slight adjustment. We either have to pack it off the glass again or change it on the hinges. So what I do, before I put the beads in, I hold the glass, I open the door, I check it works, check that it latches, I lift the handle, it's nice and smooth. I then check the key, nice and smooth. I think I'm just going to put one more packer in the top if I can get it. Just. And that works even better than it did before. So, what I like to do, I put the top bead in first. Right, I've got sweat on. It's absolutely boiling in here. It's a bit of a sun trap outside. So this is why on a normal sort of residential door you wouldn't normally put a trickle vent in, but this is going to help with background ventilation, which is quite a big thing in the window industry at the minute. And also the customer wanted a blind that is inside the glass, so it's called an integral blind, and it works, well, you get your two bits of glass and then you have a blind that's in between, and it works on a magnet or a pulley system. This type works on a magnet. So what you do, here's your control, you pull that up, and as you can see the blind's coming down all the way to the bottom, and then if you slightly tilt it on the control, you can see that it moves it either way, so you can let a little bit of light in. You can move it that way, and then to open it up again, just push it all the way down, and that's it. Now, we don't do many of these. They're becoming a bit more popular, but the price tag associated with these is quite expensive. So yeah, a normal bit of glass or a glass with blinds in, there is quite a big difference. So now the door's glazed, all the fixing foam has gone off. It's now time to pack up all the tools that I don't need. All this protective tape is going to come off. I'm going to clean it down with solvent cleaner. Now you can use solvent cleaner on smooth white windows, but on the outside, because it's foiled anthracite grey, which gives like a wood grain effect, you can't use solvent. Just warm soapy water, that'll clean that, because it will take the shine off it, the colour will fade, and it could potentially bubble, depending on how much you put on. So don't use solvent on any foiled products. Again as well, Once you're at this stage, the finishing off stage, you want everything to be clean and tidy before you actually start that. And I think it's important that if you clean as you go along, there's less cleaning to do at the end. You're not stepping over tools. You're not looking for tools that you may have put in another bag or anything like that. So I like to clean up as I go along, a nice clean tidy site. So once you are done, less cleaning up and you're away. Right, so I'm not best pleased. I've had to leave the job. I've had to come and get some trims. Well, I'm on my way to the unit. It's 1 o'clock on a Friday in Lincoln. And I'm stuck in traffic. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that I bought a pipe carrier for the all 3 vans. Now, the purpose of them was to carry trims that we don't normally use, but sometimes we need. So when you're loading up for a job, you're not taking either, well, trims that we don't normally use are probably 40mm, 60mm, 90mm. So I want 2 of each, 240, 260, 290 in white. I want 240, 260 and 290 in anthracite grey, because they're the 2 main colours that we use. And I want them on both of the big vans at all times in the pipe carriers. Their sole purpose is to carry those trims that just in case if we need them, we've got them on the van. Now, the lads know this. I've been up to, obviously on this job, I need a length of 40 and a length of 60, and there's none whatsoever in the pipe carrier. So I was getting on pretty well, even with filming. I was making good time. So now I've lost all momentum. I'm having to go in rush hour traffic. I don't know why the traffic is bad actually. To my supplier, who's he's literally only around the corner, but again, I've lost all momentum. It's probably going to take me over an hour now to get back. So with it being 1 o'clock, that's 2 o'clock. I could have probably been finished for 2 o'clock, 2:30, instead of 3, 3:30. So if you haven't seen that video where I am attaching the pipe carrier, I'll stick it on the screen somewhere up here. And I'll see you back at the job. Right, we're just getting to the finishing off stages now. Just got back from the suppliers. Now that was a 40-minute round trip. So I've lost all momentum. I could have had this done in that time if those pipe carriers on the top of the van had actual trims in. But anyway, so when you're finishing off, this rag is your best friend. I don't want to see you putting your fingers in the silicone, under your armpit, all over your top. I just think it looks unsightly. Doesn't look very professional when you're turning up to jobs. Don't get me wrong, I've done it over the years and now and again I still do it out of habit. But on a whole, I try not to when I use this. And also, because this is white, it's better to do all the white first, because on the outside, with it being dark grey and using dark grey silicone, I'm going to get dark grey silicone on my fingers. So what you don't want to be doing is the dark grey first and then potentially putting dark grey silicone into the white on the inside. So I always start with the white first. So on the outside now, nearly done. So the difference, I believe, in a really good job and an okay job is the finishing off. So what we do on the outside is we quad the head, and we used to seal the sides with silicone. We used to seal the sides with silicone. Now I would consider myself quite good with a silicone gun. But I think for a nice cleaner finish, we now trim the sides as well with a little bit of fillet. So what we do, we backfill it with clear silicone. Probably put a little bit too much on there. And bugbear of mine as well is, no matter if the lintle's out, always get your trim level. Because I've seen some lintels that are smiling and fitters will just put the quad tight to the lintel and then your quad looks like it's smiling as well. That's absolutely rubbish. And all I do, there's a little gap this end, just fill that with a little bit of silicone. It'll look quite nice. Whenever starting a new bit of trim, I always cut the end off, so I know it's a true straight edge. Always test your trim before you put any silicone on as well, because if it doesn't fit and you need to trim it down, it's not going to be covered in silicone. Again, clear silicone, so you're actually making a seal from the brick to the frame. Now the last step is tape up the corner of your sill, get some silicone that matches the colour of the frame, in this case it's anthracite grey, and we just seal them bits in the corner. This gap isn't that big, you don't want a massive nozzle. You'll end up with silicone everywhere. And that is it, one door done. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you liked it even more, hit that subscribe. We're nearly on 100 now, so that'd be lovely if we can hit that in the next couple of weeks. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.